Coming up on this edition of Southwest TV News. As the legalization of marijuana takes effect on October 17th across Canada, municipalities and cannabis retailers are preparing for the changing landscape. Impaired driving continues to be a major concern on Saskatchewan highways. And now with the legalization of marijuana across the country, tougher fines are now in place for motorists. As you drive by the Cypress Regional Hospital in Swift Current, you may have noticed work crews on the east side over the past few weeks. According to the Saskatchewan Health Authority, a heliport is being constructed near the ambulance bay. Thanks for joining us here today. Swift Current City Council has given the green light for a new cannabis retailer to set up its shop in the downtown core. We have more in today's top story. As the legalization of marijuana takes effect on October 17th across Canada, municipalities and cannabis retailers are preparing for the changing landscape. Here in Swift Current, SLGA has awarded 2 licenses for a cannabis retail outlet, with only one of the proponents, Dreamweavers Cannabis Products Inc, securing a location in the city so far. And over the past several weeks, City Council received 2 letters from area businesses stressing their concern over the proposed cannabis retail site at 106 Central Avenue North. The letters were taken into consideration by City Council and administration following a public hearing in late September, with Mayor and Council then approving the development permit application by Dreamweavers on October the 9th. Southwest TV News tried contacting the businesses who wrote the letters of concern to the city. However, all refused an on-camera interview. Meanwhile, city officials say they've put a lot of consideration into the overall cannabis retail application process.
The administration spoke with the province and got some more insights. As well, we looked to some of the larger cities. And in all of cases, for all the other cities across Saskatchewan, they are choosing to put retail cannabis in a downtown location. So we're following suit in that. I think a lot of it comes down to some misconceptions, maybe not understanding what this is going to look like. You know, some concerns were that this would be a business open very, very late at night, and that's not the case. This business, the Gerbers have shared with us, they plan to be open during retail liquor hours, the same hours as our provincial liquor stores. There was concerns about what would be coming in and out of their store or hanging out in front of their store, and again, the front that the province is setting, the frontage, it's going to look like a very nondescript building. You won't be able to look through the windows. Advertising will be very minimal.
And as Dreamweavers sets up its retail outlet in the coming weeks in Swift Current's downtown core, Mayor Dennis Perreault says the new business will enhance rather than deter other businesses from setting up shop in the city.
In my opinion, they're going to make them into better retail locations than what currently is there. To those that are concerned on what's coming, my best advice would be let's wait and see. This is a retail business that is legal in Canada, and we as a council and we as a community need to be respectful of that.
As of broadcast time of this story, the second cannabis retailer licensed for Swift Current, operated by Kevin Tyndall, has yet to secure a location for his outlet in the city. Safety on Saskatchewan's roadways continues to be a major concern, and the reason behind recent changes to impaired driving fines. Impaired driving continues to be a major concern on Saskatchewan highways, and now with the legalization of marijuana across the country, tougher fines are now in place for motorists. The new penalties include zero tolerance for drug impairment and longer vehicle seizures and license suspensions for impaired drivers with passengers under 16 years of age in the vehicle. Enhanced fines, which have been on the radar for months, and are meant to further ensure everyone's safety on the roadway.
But zero tolerance is important right now. We talk about safety on the highways, and that's so important for us. We've made good progress on impaired driving, and impaired driving is not just drinking and driving. A lot of the deaths that have occurred over the last number of years are a combination of drugs and alcohol, and so this is with a specific thing, and with the legalization of it, we don't know exactly how people are going to react to it. So we're very convinced that zero tolerance was the way to go.
And once pulled over by the police, if the officer has reasonable grounds to believe that the driver is impaired by a drug, they can make a demand that the driver submit to an evaluation conducted by a drug recognition evaluator. Police across Saskatchewan are being trained to recognize signs of impairment from drugs, and there are currently 74 drug recognition certified officers in the province, with 20 to 40 new officers being trained each year. More information on the updated impaired driving penalties in Saskatchewan are available online.
Hi, I'm Louise Cook. I'm a landscape painter, and my association is with Art Placement in Saskatoon. I tend to like rural landscape and edges of things, edges of farms, edges of the road, edge of a creek, edge of the horizon, that kind of thing. That's what I look at first. I usually take a watercolor kit with me when I'm traveling, some sort of a sketchbook. So I sort of document that way as I go along, bring things back to the studio. And in the studio, it's large oil paintings, larger oil paintings than the little one here. It is from a provincial park. I talked about edges, that I'm always interested in edges, and that is a good example of edges. You have a calm sky, you have a little bit more activity in a lake or the water, and then comes the edge. And the edge is the land, and it has to do with the complications of what lives and what grows and what sort of exists right beside the water edge in a provincial park. I'm very interested in the natural world and botany and that kind of thing. They're mostly fireweed, dogwood, red dogwood, but the other one is Phragmites. And Phragmites is somewhat of an invasive species, but it's beautiful to look at. It's wonderful. It moves in the wind, and that's why I painted it. So it's quite complicated, one side, and the other side is more calm. A lot of artists are sort of maintained at a certain price level. But like anything else, there's popularity in there, and there's appreciation, and there's also good press. And people are drawn to things that they think that is important, and other people think that is important, and we're all put together that way. I like where I am right now. It's something that's a collaboration between the artist and the art dealer. And they're very good at setting that kind of value. I mean, they do assessments of estates, all sorts of things like that. So they know exactly where things of a particular artist fit. Art in many ways is something that it moves throughout the decades. Sometimes it's modern art, sometimes it's more of a realistic bend, sometimes it's landscape, sometimes it's anything but landscape. So these things sort of have their life and then they move on. But hopefully I have experienced that certain things of a certain value maintain their value, it moves along with you.
A heliport to the Cypress Regional Hospital in Swift Current is the latest addition, benefiting patients in an emergency situation. As you drive by the Cypress Regional Hospital in Swift Current, you may have noticed work crews on the east side over the past few weeks. According to the Saskatchewan Health Authority, a heliport is being constructed near the ambulance bay, offering easier access to the emergency department for patients being transported by STARS.
STARS had started landing at the hospital in Swift Current on a temporary landing site. And as development occurred in and around the hospital and in the city, eventually they came to the point where the temporary landing site no longer met the requirements that Transport Canada has for heliports, and so the temporary landing site was shut down, and they started transporting patients to the airport, and STARS would land there, and that's what's happening right now. So earlier this year, we started the design work to prepare a permanent heliport that would be certified by Transport Canada. And we're just basically through the course of the summer, we've been working on, we finalized the design and we started the construction.
The Saskatchewan Health Authority is investing $400,000 towards the heliport project, which is said to be on time and on budget.
So the project includes the design work. There's an aviation consultant that helped us prepare the design that would meet all of the regulations that we need to adhere to, as well as there are costs with operating the heliport. You have to have an operations manager assigned that knows what the regulations are and how they're meeting them, and that they're able to train the staff in providing access to and securing the heliport. So there are some costs on that side, and those will be ongoing costs. For the project itself, obviously there's the construction. It's mainly a concrete pad with painted markings on it. There's also obstruction lights and a windsock and cameras and those sorts of things that also are included.
The new heliport at the Cypress Regional Hospital is expected to be completed and fully operational in the coming weeks. Well, this brings to a close another episode of Southwest TV News, reporting the stories that matter to you. We always welcome your news tips. You can always reach us here by phone at our studio or by email to contact us at southwesttvnews.com. Also, be sure to join us daily online for the latest news from across Southwest Saskatchewan and so much more at southwesttvnews.com. And be sure to follow us on a range of social media. Thanks for joining us here today. I'm Carol Andrews.